Now, before we get on with this review, I forgot to mention something on my last video. As I said before on the first video for Tom Baker, I said that I'll be keeping track of how many jelly babies were consumed in each story. Well, the last story, one jelly baby was consumed through the entire story. Okay, now that I've got that out of the way, let's continue with this review for the Sontaran experiment. The story for the Sontaran experiment is transmitting down from Navarra Beacon. The Doctor, Sarah Jane, and Harry find themselves on Earth in the far future, long since abandoned by the human race. Soon it becomes clear that they are not alone. A shipwrecked crew of human astronauts are being hunted down one by one. What is the creature that lives in the rocks, and what is the purpose of the lethal test it is conducting? Can the Doctor ensure the safety of the Earth for the future generations of humankind? Now, as you can tell from the title, the creature is the Sontaran. Yes, I don't know why they kind of tease it like, what is the creature? What is the creature? But at the same time, when watching, even though you know it's a Sontaran, there still is some mystery when watching the story. It's like, yes, it's Sontaran, but what else is going on here? You know, what is this? What is it? You know, what's going on? But it's just kind of weird how it's like, okay, you know what it is, but at the same time you're like, what is this? What's going on? You know, it's just a nice bit of mystery to the story, and this actually introduces to the fact that Sontarans are actually cloned. You know, they all look pretty much the same. They're all the exact one, and they actually got the same actor who played Lynx in the first time the Sontarans were introduced in The Time Warrior. They got the same actor, however, it's not the same character. He just looks like Lynx. He's just instead somebody called Steyer, I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's just another, just a different character, just looks and sounds exactly the same. And this time with this Sontaran, the makeup is just slightly better. There's still, you could tell that it's not really around the lips and not really around the eyes. Even though they blacken the eyes and lips very well to blend it in, you can still tell there's just, nothing attaching to the lips or the eyes. But the head looks a little more refined, looks not, and looks, still has the potato head bulkiness of it, which is the purpose, but it looks more, fleshed in and just doesn't look completely obvious. Completely obvious that it's makeup, I mean, it's not a prosthetic at all. And they got rid of the annoying hairs, so it doesn't look like a hairy potato, just a potato. This story was kind of interesting in the fact that it was much like the John Pertwee's first story, The Spearhead from Space. This one, much like The Spearhead from Space, was entirely shot on location. No sets whatsoever, all location shooting, which was quite different. And I think this was also a kind of a rush story. They just needed 2 episodes to fit in for the series, so they just made those two episodes really quickly, wrote it really quickly, filmed it really quickly, and this and that done. So it's kind of interesting in that way. This just for the base of this entire story, it was all filmed on location instead of studio. So they got to go more broad. We're not in corridors or closed off from everything and then intercutting with pre-filmed segments. So it's all just one thing, and you got a broader landscape. It's not like a matte painting or something in the background. It's all realistic. What was also interesting was the fact that we learned from the last story in the Ark in Space that the Nova space station is housing some humanity, what we all thought was the last of humanity. Well, with this one we learned there was actually other people, other colonies, who actually went out further into space and actually built an empire while these people in the space station were sleeping. So for 10,000 years these humans went to other planets and created an empire, reproducing all over on these planets, spreading out slowly over time, and now we're just coming back because they heard a distress signal and we're coming back that way. So that was interesting, and they have such a grudge against those humans that were on there. In fact, they actually thought that the space station was a myth. It wasn't until the Doctor came around that they found out maybe this isn't a myth or a legend and actually is true. So that was pretty cool. actually some history there, some actual like storytelling and stuff that it just made it seem more realistic, and also provided continuity. The Sontaran, the Kevin Lindsay, who played both Sontaran and both the Time Warrior in this one, played it seamlessly. He did just as good of a job as he did the last time, and it was just beautifully done. I enjoyed it. This story is actually also famous for Tom Baker breaking his collarbone while filming. There's a scene to where Tom Baker actually rushes up to the Sontaran, and the Sontaran just bitch slaps him, and Tom Baker falls flat down on his back. And when that happens, you don't really hear it when watching the scene, but at that moment, Tom Baker's collarbone snaps. When I saw the scene, I didn't really hear it, but Elizabeth Saladin, who was in that scene with Tom Baker, heard it. But I didn't really hear it. But we all know that's where it happened. So if you're ever looking really closely, because he had to keep his arm in a sling, if you look really closely after that scene, Tom Baker's scarf is acting as a sling to keep his arm steady and not moving. So he's always using just his other hand to do other things. I didn't really notice this at first watching it until I saw the making of, that I was like, oh my god, that is right, it's true. And for some of the stunts that need to be done, they actually got a double. One of the actors that was actually killed off in episode 1 stood in for Tom Baker to do action scenes or other stunts or whatever. So that was pretty neat. Although yes, it was obviously not Tom Baker. You could tell that the stunts were done by Tom Baker, were not done by Tom Baker, but I actually thought it was a stunt double, but it was actually just another actor. So that was kind of funny and neat. It was kind of an interesting little factoid. The Sontaran experiment was quite interesting. It was also kind of sickening. It was kind of reminiscent of kind of like Nazi experimentation on the Jews during concentration camps. Styrie was trying to find the human weaknesses, testing their strengths, their weaknesses, to try and find all their weaknesses so that when the Sontaran invasion comes, it can just go really fast, done, they can take over the planet in like an hour, this kind of thing. So that was kind of creepy in a way. It was just kind of like, wow, that's brutal. That didn't really sit well. But it was at the same time necessary because we were supposed to fear the Sontarans. That's what his job is spread evil. And the Doctor comes in and his companions come in to fix things. The end of the story, kind of a spoiler alert. When they stop the Sontaran by taking away this transmitter that feeds him energy so that he can, keep building up energy and continue to fight. Well, they took that out, and instead the energy fed on him. And we last see Styrie just kind of stumbling out and falling down, and then he melts away. In fact, his head just kind of deflates like a balloon. And yes, it's an obvious, effect, but at the same time you're looking at it going, oh, God, oh, that's creepy, oh, ugh. And his body just one flat thing. I was just like, oh, that is kind of creepy. Yeah, again, yes, it looks cheesy, but at the same time, when watching it, when you're in that moment, it's just like, ooh, but it was pretty cool. And then the Doctor stops the Sontaran invasion by giving a threatened notice over a message, and that was pretty cool. This was surprisingly unheard of since I think the William Hartnell era. This story is only 2 episodes long. The only other stories that I think were 2 episodes long were during the William Hartnell era with, what was it? The third story. It was like the end of the world or something. Hold on, let me take a look. It was, yes, the Edge of Destruction. The Edge of Destruction in the third story in the William Hartnell area. And then also the Rescue. The Rescue, where they replaced, they got Vicky, the companion Vicky. That was a 2-parter story also. But the other ones were like 4 to 6 stories, and particularly with Tom Baker, so far his stories were mostly 4 episodes, but this one was 2 episodes. So that was completely unheard of at the time. But at the same time, it's like, you know what, when you think about it, much like the Edge of Destruction and the Rescue, 2 episodes is a decent length, the right amount for this story. For it's like nothing big is happening, nothing that would really kind of find necessity for a longer set of episodes. It's like, this is perfect. It's just a short story. That is it. and still enjoyable like any other Doctor Who story. So, there's it. Out of 5 stars, I have to give this one a good 3 stars. Great location, good storytelling, some good action, and good monster makeup effects, some good creatures. There was a nice little puppet robot that the Sontaran controlled. There was a nice bit of puppetry for that robot moving around. It was quite kind of nice. Although it was obvious that it was moving around on a track, but still its movement was quite nice and believable. So all of that was pretty good. And well, for the first time since Robot, there was actually no Jelly Bellies whatsoever consumed or even mentioned in the story at all. So yeah, well, there's some little fun little trivia for you about the Jelly Babies from Doctor Who. All right. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.